everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Perm Day. How's it going over here? Darlene Burnham, and I just want to say thank you, Jerry, for inviting me here today in your lovely home and letting me share with you something that has been really starting to being asked for at the salon. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to show you some different kinds of wraps, and on men and women, girls, little girls, anybody that decides they want a little texture and a little bit of perm or wave or just all the different kinds of things that you can say, just texture. I hate to say perm, so I always say, do you want more texture in your hair? Do you want something that's going to help style your hair? Do you want something that you can just kind of look like you have natural curl? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about different ways to wrap the hair, timings, which perm to choose. We're also going to talk a little bit about the structure of which perm is going to be best suited for your guest and the steps that go along with it, which I think is like really important. Gosh, this lighting, I can't wait to get up close so then you guys see my mannequin instead of me. But let's see what else. So, you know, I want to go a little bit about the history of the perm. The perm has been around forever and ever, and they used to be connected by wires and all that. But really the 80s is like when it really got really big, and I was actually fortunate enough to be in that generation. And within that generation, what was happening is that we had to wrap perms really quick. So our goal was to wrap a perm in 15 to 20 minutes so they can have lunchtime perms, which we don't call anymore perms. So yeah, lots of challenges, lots of product changes since then. So they're a lot better ammonia-free. They don't have quite as much of the smell that they used to have.
Ask them if they're out there.
Are you guys out there? Can somebody respond and say, hey, before I start chit-chatting?
There's 29 participants.
29? Okay.
Are we good? Oh, I see somebody. Is that a Paulina?
They said
Hello, hello. It's a, oh, I hear a voice.
Hi.
Okay,
Yes.
so good, because I'm like, I'm starting to
Oh,
talk and
I'm
I don't know if anybody's on here or not. Hello, hello. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys are here. So is everybody excited about getting reintroduced to waves and perms? Because I am. I can't wait to share all this information with you. So, you know, we always talk about, like, anytime we do anything, like what are benefits, what are going to be the results of it. So when I start discussing in my consultation with my client, like what her wants and needs are for her hair, and a lot of times she'll say, oh, I wish my curl could stay longer, or, oh, I wish I didn't have as much frizz, or, you know, I really like those spiral waves, which honestly, on Thursday, I did a spiral wave that was like hair down to here, and I used these spiral rods, and it turned out amazing. Do I have a picture of it? No, I'm so sorry, but I will ask her to send one. So what does a wave or texture or perm do? It's going to change that structure of the hair. So one benefit you're going to get from it is longer lasting curls if you decide to do some curls and your hair never kind of holds them. So you can do something that's like really loose, or you can go and do something that where they look like they have natural curls in their hair. So you can go a little bit tighter. Another thing, and this is a big one, and I just booked 2 appointments. Swear to you. Somebody who has natural curly hair or like frizzy hair, what I'm doing is I'm restructuring their curls so that they're a little bit more consistent with each other, maybe a little bit looser. And then it also takes that frizziness away. So, you know, like we're coming up to the summer months where natural curly hair tends to be a lot frizzier. So what this is gonna do is it's gonna control those curls, control the frizz. So I've got a couple of those scheduled. So I think this is something that maybe we'll get back into. Let's bring back a little bit of the 90s, 80s, which is like 30, 40 years ago. Crazy. So are we ready for this? Yay, I am. So before we start on anything, I did a little flip chart and I'm gonna bring this up closer so that you guys can see it. Let's see if we can get a better view of that. I know I wrote it on shiny paper. So, you know, we have, there we go. We have two types, you know, where we have the acid and the alkaline. Oh, technical difficulties.
I'm still there. Okay, I'm sending it to you.
Let's see. There we go. Well, I can read everything to you.
Reset the password.
There we go.
Just get out of there. altogether
And then
just find me one.
Here we go. I'll hold it like this. So anyway, what we're talking about here is that perms, you know, pH levels, what's happening to that hair. This is a piece of strand of hair right in through here, and you have your cuticle. So, you know, when you're talking about doing a perm, what you're doing is you're changing the structure of that hair. So, you know, you have your amino acids, you have your cross bonds, you have your helix coils, and you have your bonds. And those are going to play the most important part, because what a perm does with the thioglycolate and either the alkaline or the acid, it's going to break those apart and kind of separate them. So they're plates and they're like touching. So then that gives you either you have a curl formation naturally or it's a very straight. So what happens when you put the solution on is that it breaks them apart and it like reshapes them into whatever shape it's around. So that's why if you're doing a perm, you're breaking all those bonds. And so what happens is some of the other bonds, like your polypeptides and stuff like that, they fill in and then they just kind of start to form and give that support, kind of like your joints, your cartilage. And then when you neutralize, then it hardens. And so then that's going to keep in your hair for about like 3 months, 4 months, and then it'll start to weaken and then you'll have to do it again if you choose to.
Oh, no, that's not that. That's
So that's just some of the, you know, the total insight of how a perm really kind of changes that structure of the hair with all the different bonds, the hydrogen bonds, the sulfate bonds, and the disulfate bonds. So those are going to be all broken up. So what does a perm do? So a perm is either going to be an acid or an alkaline. Okay. And here you have your pH level, which is from a 0 to a 14, right? And everybody knows that your 7 is your neutral. So what's happening is that our shampoos are more alkaline, and those go from like a 7 to a 10. Hair relaxers are like 11.5 to a 14. Your skin and nails is between a 4.5 to a 5.5. Okay. And then your battery acid, which is all the way over by your pH of a 0. So here, right here, where I kind of drew this is where your hydrogen peroxide is. So that's like a 3.5 to like a 5.5, 6. And our perms are usually, about a 5.5 to a 9.5. And again, depending, the higher it's going up, that means you're using an alkaline perm. Something that's going to be more gentle on the hair is going to be like an acid perm, which is going to be stronger. And if you can see this right in through here, here's your hair strand. And it could be the natural and it's very tight. And as soon as you start doing something to soften that cuticle up, it's going to start to swell. So it's going to be a little bit larger. Does that kind of make sense? Just a little insight. Uh-oh, somebody says my friend is in a waiting room and isn't able to join. Oh, okay. Okay. Do I keep going or do I wait? So that's just kind of giving you a little bit insight of what a perm is going to do for you. So one of the other things that I want to talk about before we get started are some of the steps of a perm. So I'm going to bring this back up here. So steps to a perm. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about consultation. And with the consultation, I like to say depth, D-E-P-T-H. So the first thing we're going to do is what I like to suggest to my guests is please bring in some photos of like what you like and what kind of style that you're, thinking of doing into your hair. So one of the first things with consultation is the density, how thick that strand of hair is. What am I is it going to be strong? Is there a lot of elasticity? Is it very porous? Do I have to treat that beforehand? What kind of texture are they looking for? And also their hair growth. How long is their hair? That's going to determine the size rod that I'm going to be using on that person to get the right amount of curl that's needed for her. So that's all in your consultation. Have her bring in a photo. When you think of density, how thick that strand of hair is. One thing I like to do is I take the one strand of hair, and if you can see it, that means that you've got pretty dense hair. If you can't, then it's going to be finer. So when you're doing that perm, you're going to want to do something for fine, something more for like gentle hair. Elasticity, we all know how to do that. Just stretch it and see how much elasticity is in there, because that's going to give you that bounce when you're perming your hair. Porosity, you want to make sure that it's going to be porous enough, but at the same time, you don't want it to be too porous. So you might want to use like a pre-wrap on that hair. And then texture, again, I was talking about how we go in and create a different texture for somebody who has that type of hair, that has frizziness to it. So that's going to alter that texture in the hair. And then hair growth. Again, that's going to determine what size rod you're going to be wrapping that hair around. Because if somebody has short hair, you're not going to use a large rod unless you just want control and a little bit of weight. But if you have somebody that has super long hair, you might want to use that large rod because you're going to get more bends with it. Does that make sense? Just a little bit of the ins and outs. So step one is to detox. So detoxing the hair to me is very key. It's like you want to take and make sure that all those chemicals are out of the hair, any kind of maybe elements of like hard water, something like that. And think of this. When you're shampooing your hair, you're going to be using more of a clarifying shampoo. So like I use from Paul Mitchell shampoo 2 or 3, depending on the porosity of the hair. Sometimes I use the 2 and the 3 together to get a 5. So what breaks down hydrogen bonds? Water and heat. So if you're using warm water, you're already starting to pre-soften that hair, and you're also cleansing that hair out. So detoxing is like very key and very important. Now, would you be using a conditioner with it to close that cuticle back down? No. Just detoxify that hair. It's almost like when you do a facial and, you know, you want to get all those impurities out. That's what we're going to do first, is get those impurities out. So then step 2 is going to be setting the hair. Step 3 is choosing the right wave solution. And then step 4 will be your neutralizing. So the waving solution, remember, it's just going to break those bonds. You kind of pre-softening that hair when you're detoxing the hair. And then the neutralizer is going to reform those bonds together. And then we'll have some styling time. So this is what we're going to be doing. And I've got some really fun ways to share with you and some really nice, easy techniques. So I do have a diagram here of our first one. And I'm calling this diagram, if you guys want to snap a picture of it, I'll bring it up close. There we go. You can kind of see that more. Trying to get that light away. There we go. So if you want to snap a picture, go for it. So the reason why I'm calling this it's a 10 is because it's only 10 rods. So how easy is that? Okay, so bringing up my girl. So what I did was I did already so that you guys can get a visual of what I'm doing. And this is going to be a combination, and I have her on rollers, and that's what we're going to perm her on. I got these really cool rollers, and I got them at Sally's, but look at how flexible they are. And they have all these grippers, so you don't need an end paper. And also Olivia Garden, they sell these too. So if you want an FYI, these are just your Velcro rollers, which I have used to perm the hair. So this girl right here wants to have something that's going to help aid in her every day, where if she blow dries her hair, if she lets it air dry and then she puts a little curl to it, she's going to get a better bend. So you have my diagram right here. So what I did was it's 4 rollers, and these rollers, if you look at my zigzaggy lines, I zigzagged in between so that I'm pulling a little hair from different directions. So I have 2 going this way and then 2 going this way. So they're coming together. Everything is going away from the face. Then next, I did 3 rollers right here, and I did different sizes, and those are also going away back. I took a diagonal section, which I'll be showing you. And then I did 1 smaller, 1 larger. Same thing on this side. Right here in the back, I just took 2, and those are going down. So then in through this area here, I took where the sectioning, and I'll show you better, it's just from the whole part. So I took these all into one direction and wrapped them all the same way, facing you. And then if I flip her head around, I took all of these facing the opposite way. So these are going this way and these are going this way and through here. The fun thing we're going to do about this is we're going to use perm rods right in through here. Okay. And then we are going to use the rollers in through here. Now I'm going to change these up. By the time I'm ready to neutralize her, I'm going to bring her back here and we're going to set her in rollers so she has just a little bit nicer weight to her hair. Okay, so this is just a rundown of it, and now we're going to do it. Okay, so here's my girl. I'm just going to move this up a little bit here. So let's see. I want you guys to see this better. Let's move this, sorry. There we go. If you guys can't see anything, can you please just tell her? And if you have any questions so far, please just ask. Type it in. Okay, she's in the class now. Hi, she's in the class now. Okay, so let's get started here. So the very first thing that I did, lighting is not good right now. There we go. Okay, so I think the light wants to go on me instead of my mannequin. Right now. Okay, there we go. Now we'll be able to see. Okay, so the first thing that I did was I took out all the way around her head. And I kind of gave her a little bit of a, she's gonna be wearing it on the side, so it's a little bit off at the parting. And also in through here, you could see it's kind of the same thing. There we go. You can see right in through here how I've got it kind of turned a little bit. So the nice thing about these rods are that I only have to take, and so again, like on her, I'm doing 3 on the side, and then I'm doing 4 at the very bottom, doing 2 here, and then just 1 more right in through here. So our first section, what we're gonna do, and I like to use my moisture mist. If you have somebody that has very porous ends, like maybe some highlights and stuff like that, you could use a pre-wrap solution, which is really good. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to zigzag like this. Okay. And I'm taking pretty large sections here. Haha, I'm wrapping the wrong perm. Right? Yes. Sorry, I'm doing a custom wrap first. Oops, so sorry. Okay, so I talked about the right perm, but the wrong diagram. So here is the diagram for this one. Let's see if I can see that. Oh, I'm doing bad. Okay, so this is our custom wrap. Again, it's the same thing, like I says, the rods go this way, and then they're gonna go the opposite way. You've got these going back, you've got these going back, and you've got just a few going down. So here's my first one. And you're gonna determine, again, think about length of hair. Like, okay, what's our goal? What's our end goal with this? Our end goal is so that she has just a little bit of a wave and something that she can wear natural, but she doesn't want to have too much curl. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this rod, and it's almost like you want to make sure that those ends are covered, and you are just going to roll this up. So I know sometimes people say, well, what are you going to charge for something like that? What I like to say is I charge like what I would charge for a highlight, because you're talking about 2 hours, depending on the time of the wave, which is going to be very important. So can you guys see how I'm sectioning this off? If there's anything I need to adjust, please holler. So I'm bringing this straight out right here. And now I'm going to take this yellow roller right in here and see how I'm just wrapping that. Another thing, like on my girl that I just put those rollers in her hair. And then there we go. See how nice and flexible those are? And so now I'm going to take this next one. And this is going to be a pretty long and it's going right in front. So see how I have this section right in through here and I'm just zigzagging. And I'm holding that straight out. And I'm going to roll that up. And I'm going to take a little curly one so that you guys can see the difference. I mean, she is a Manny, so she's not going to complain. So how much easier is this? Like not having to use end papers or anything. Okay, so I have my 3. Now she's a little bit looser. She's going to be, so you can see right here, here's my 3, there's my 3, right in through there. Now I'm going to take right here, right behind, and I'm going to zigzag that out. And that's going to be my first one. And I'm going to bring this one kind of forward. I'm going to over direct that. See that? And I'm going to wet this. And I'm going to just comb that. So see how that combs right through. Any questions on perms or anything that you don't understand? Please just ask. Pretty quiet in there. I'm going to keep this
What
out
are
of
you
the way.
spraying on the hair?
It's kind of like a pre-wrap solution. It's just an Avapui moisture mist. And what this is going to do is it's going to even out the porosity. Remember we talked about porosity of the hair. So that's going to even it out and keep the moisture the same. So when I do put the solution in, what's going to happen is that it's going to take more evenly. Because, you know, if that hair is like really porous, what's going to happen is that it's going to take stronger in some spots. And kind of like the same thing, you know, with your, when you're highlighting and you have that porosity.
Someone else asked, what brand of perm do you prefer?
Depending on who I'm doing, I mean, I like being a Paul Mitchell educator. I love the Paul Mitchell perms. I've used them for years and I'm very comfortable with them. And I feel like I don't get that swelling, which is really nice. So I know my predictability and my results with it. How's that? I know there's been a few other brands that have been popping up on my radar, and one is Mr. Nick Arrojo saying that the smell isn't there. So I checked it out. The smell is there. But I feel if you prep the hair the correct way, what's going to happen is you're going to have good results. So you just want to make sure that you're using the right perm. Does anybody do perms? When's the last time somebody did a perm? Can somebody tell me? What are you spraying in the hair? Okay. 2 weeks ago. All right. So what kind of perm did you do?
Last week.
Oh. And what kind of perm did you do? Was it like just a basic perm or did you do a specific wrap? The reason why I like to call this custom is because this is something that's not out of the ordinary. 10 years ago, basic perm, 10 years ago, basic perm. I did one last week, right? The basic perm with like 20,000 rods and tons of end papers. And yeah. Can you see doing this? Oh, bricklaying. So this kind of will have that bricklay. The other ones that I did a bricklay perm. So I wanted to just share with you all the different fun things that you can do. We did one with wrapping it in kids' dinosaurs. How crazy is that? Like those little dinosaur toys that you get at the dollar store. What do you need? Okay, so now I have this zigzag. So this is going to be my third section right here. And this one is going to be that smallest one. I just want you guys to see how nice and soft that these are going to be. So I'm going to go here and see how I'm bringing that towards me. And then what I'm doing is I'm just pulling that hair all the way around, making sure those ends, just like when you do a regular perm, you want all those ends to be tucked in nicely. Aren't these rollers great? So now I'm going to, I just have these last two at the bottom. And so I did pink and yellow. So this one. 1, 2, 3. Did I drop a yellow out? So now I'm going to do a pink one here. There we go. And spray this. And I think that I'm going to do one more pink right here. The reason why I'm doing another pink is because I think I lost one of my yellow ones. Sorry. Okay, so now what we're doing is we have these. Now you can do this where you can just wrap them this way. I wrap this way because a lot of times the head is a little bit flatter right here. And I just want to have more lift so that it has just a little bit more natural wave. I mean, you can do these so many different ways. Another one that I like to do is where I'll take this hair and I'll just weave it.
What rollers are you using, Darlene?
I got these at Sally's. The bag is right there. I can show you. Here, let me
okay.
get that really quick. So like Olivia Garden, I saw them at Sally's also, but these are called night curls. See that? And it comes with, you know, and I wanted the larger rollers, so that's why I chose the smaller selection of them. And then these are like really small ones. It comes in a cute little bag. You know
Darlene,
us.
are you rolling it with tension?
Yes, I am, so that they hold in. So now I'm just going to take and I'm going to zigzag this. Again, my end goal with this wave is to be more of a wave. I don't want something that is going to be really tight.
There's another question here. I did a basic perm for my 80-year-old aunt.
I want more than 80-year-olds.
It doesn't take, I've used different brands. Any recommendations on white resistant hair?
Okay, so let's go back to our chart. Look at how nice that just kind of fell in. Again, I just want to have something very loose. So whatever perms, your alkaline is going to be your strongest. That's going to be for that resistant hair, that hair that's white naturally, very coarse hair, and not a lot of color in the hair. Okay, so alkaline perms, if we go back to our chart. Your alkaline is going to be a little bit more on the 9 with your alkaline. So it's going to open that cuticle. It's going to, move those disulfide bonds, and you're going to be able to kind of enjoy having a stronger wave with it. Now, the other one I would recommend, if she has gray hair, but maybe it's a little bit on the finer side, you can go with like an exothermic. Okay, and the exothermic is going to have a pH of like a level 7. It's hard to overprocess. I love the exothermic, but it has a nice bounce and strongness to it. So, and if she has some color in her hair or highlights or something like that, then that would be something good for her.
Someone else would also like to know, what was the end result of the perm with dinosaurs?
It was crazy. It was just all over the place. So it had, the where the dinosaur body was more fatter curl. And then so you had all these different wraps, because the legs, it was the neck was different. So you had like a tighter, a smaller. So think about that. You're wrapping it, and you're wrapping it around the different circumferences. So that one strand of hair is going to have tighter, looser, kind of like some of your curling irons. So think about that.
Are you using a PRES spray?
I'm using the Avapui Wild Gin Moisture Mist. So what that is it's going to keep that moisture level at the same. So now what I'm going to do in through here, see if we can move her, is I'm going to take a fatter end here. Okay, so I'm going to go about right here, and I'm going to see like these are going to go into a perm rod. So see, here's for one lane and here's for the other. So that's about the width that I want for that. And I'm going to take this zigzag on a diagonal, because she's going to be parting her hair on one side. So I just wanted to have more of a natural fall to it. And so here's the thing that I really want to focus on, is that what's going to be my end. I want something that has a little bit more wave to it. I'm going to be neutralizing her on this size of a roller. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to perm at least one size smaller than this roller, so that I have the support and I have a little bit more bend. I can go a little bit more, and then that would be a little stronger. But because of me wrapping the way it is, and it's just very loose, I'm going to go with the teal rod. Okay, and we're going to change these out after she's done processing. Does that make sense? Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is there's going to be 4 wraps in through here. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to zigzag that out. A lot of times when we used to do perms, they're like, oh, they got to be either on base or off base, or, you have to take care of them the right way. You have to wrap them. Tension is key. If you don't have the tension for them and you don't have it smoothed out and combed, then you're going to have a bumpy road that's not going to be consistent. So see how I'm just really holding these.
Darlene, someone asked, so an old school rod to roller transfer perm?
Yeah, who remembers that? Those were my favorite and I just started doing them again. So now I'm just going to wrap this. So old school rod to roller, if you remember, you always go one size to 1.5 sizes smaller, right? And when you're transferring them, you're always going to take 2 rods out and transfer it onto 1 roller. So that's going to give it
She
just
said she's showing her age with that question.
that's okay, because I guess I'm showing mine too. So now I'm going to be using end papers. You guys can see this. There we go. So now I'm going to comb this hair. Bring this up. I hope that you guys can see this. It's like really, I'm having my issues right now, but I want you to see everything. So I'm pulling this tight. I'm going to miss those ends because what these do for you, the end papers, is it really keeps them smooth. We used to call it fishtails, and we don't want any fishtails, right? Where those really get dented. Okay. And so now I have 2 more right here. And so I think this is going to be really good at showing some support. So now I'm just going to take this, and now they're getting permed right to me. Am I boring you guys yet? And then Jerry is going to be my assistant here. So I'm gonna, after we get done with these next 2, what I'm gonna do is then turn it over to Jerry, and he's gonna go, because we are in his house, and we are going to neutralize these and wave them in his kitchen sink. Vertically, horizontally, which is a picture. Okay, what was that about?
She's having a view issue. I'll help her.
So the person that asked about her aunt that's like 80, is she just having a hard time you know, just a hard time. I'm sorry, I got in the zone of wrapping this. Is she having a hard time holding that curl in her hand? So see how that's flipping down? What I'm going to do is,
Yes, it doesn't hold the curl.
so is she on a lot of medications? Excuse me 1 second.
Thyroid meds is all that she knows of.
So that's probably why. So something that's like maybe a little bit stronger would be helpful. So now I'm going to flip her this way. And I'm going to zigzag. And again, it's going to be 4 sections. So I'm just taking this whole part. See if you can see this. Okay. And now they're going to come this direction. So having a mask on sometimes is hard because it's really gross to think about. But when you're reaching for an end paper and they're all stuck together, you usually will take your finger and like,
Someone asked,
Like
is
it?
it possibly the solution that she used for her aunt?
no, I think it's more the thyroid because maybe you need to detoxify her just a little bit more by using something of more cleansing shampoo. So like a shampoo 5, like a 2 and a 3, or a heavy duty detoxifying shampoo that maybe put her under the dryer with it for a few, and that'll take some of those chemicals out. I really believe thyroid medication can kind of do that to your hair.
Someone else asked why wrap in smaller rods and change to a bigger roller to neutralize?
The reason is that this is breaking the bonds so that curl is going to be a little bit stronger. And then it's going to have better support when I change it to a larger rod. So then it'll kind of hold more of that curl. Does that kind of make sense?
Someone else asked, why didn't you use end paper for the side and back?
Because the hair is gripping very nicely. So I didn't need to have an end paper with it.
And then the participant with the ant with the hair that won't take the
Uh-huh.
curl said, I used alternate action, and the second time I used the Kenra charcoal detoxify shampoo.
And that still didn't help. What kind of perm are you using? So which perms did you use on her? Did you use the Matrix one? I know somebody that has like a lot of issues, maybe something that you could do is just really do a wave that's going to be a little bit under the dryer, so it's going to be stronger. Because that heat's going to open up that cuticle and then really put it into that cortex and break those bonds up more. I think that's what's happening. Those bonds are not getting broken up. Okay, so I'm on my last piece right here.
She said she used Matrix the first time, then BioTerra the second time.
Yeah. Try the Paul Mitchell, the blue, which is the alkaline, and see what you think of that one.
Can you please explain more about the Paul Mitchell 2/3 or 2 out of 3 detoxify shampoo?
Okay, so what that is shampoo 2 and shampoo 3. So when you mix the 2 of those together, then you get 5. So it's going to be a little bit more aggressive. And if you really need to get some of those chemicals out, what I would recommend is putting her under the dryer. You know?
Someone else said, I have good results with the Quantum Exothermic Perms on my older clients with soft gray hair.
Okay. Quantum. You know, perms are not what they used to be either. So I'm just going to hold these into place right here. And it's a plastic comb, so there's no metal. So this is her. Are we ready to see what her results are going to be? So let's get stinky. Okay, it's time to fumigate. So the next thing that I'm going to do is take some of my cotton, because I'm treating her just like she would be a normal guest in the salon. And cotton is very, I feel, important. So we're just going to wrap this around her. And the perm that I'm going to be using on her, she doesn't really have an ear, so. So the perm that I'm going to be using on her, we have Paul Mitchell, we have 3, and I'm not here to sell a perm or anything like that. Like I said, I'm used to using them. So this is gonna be, again, my alkaline. So if you look here where that alkaline is, it's gonna soften up that hair and it's gonna be a little bit stronger. So this is for normal resistant gray hair. I know I keep moving it. So this is going to create a lot of texture in the hair. So this is my strongest, okay? This is my go-to right here, my exothermic wave. So this is going to be for color treated hair. It has a pH of a 7. You really can't over process this perm. So I'm really like in love with it. I use this a lot because we're going to use this on her today because it's going to be a little bit longer time-wise, but it's going to be a little bit stronger. So when I do transfer those rods, I'm going to have a stronger wave. Not quite as much as the acid. So this can be for color-treated hair, you know, a little bit more harder to perm. Can use the exothermic on bleached hair. You know what? If you have a few highlights, but if you're doing an ombre, no, I really wouldn't recommend it. So which one I would recommend is the acid wave. This is going to be your most gentle and it's for 50% highlighted hair. Now acid is like falling in the category of right in through here, which is going to be like right before your 7. So like a 5, 6, 7. So that's where this is going to fall. This is going to take, I actually did like 20 minutes is like pretty much my normal 15 minutes with the acid wave, because think the porosity of highlighted hair is going to be more. So you're not going to want to leave the product on as long. So this could be for, you know, finer hair, for a looser, more beachy wave. This is perfect. And so on my next model that I'll be using, I'm going to use the acid. So for now, we're going to use the exothermic because I do want to have a little bit of muscle with it. Does that kind of make sense? Did that help? So exothermic is, it gets heat activated in the bottle. So here's my waving solution. Okay. Just put this here. I'm being really brave. And time-wise. So if, you know what, every time I always do this, and I don't know why they do this, but it's inside the box. So if you look here for your exothermic, it's saying to process resistant, normal, and fine hair for 25 to 30 minutes. Again, remember, the exothermic does not overprocess. So this is going to be on for like, I would say 25 minutes, especially on a mannequin. I am going to place her in the sun so that she has some natural heat, which is so exciting that we have sun. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the waving solution. And then this is the activator. And so what's going to happen is this chemical reaction, it's going to heat up the solution. So it's going to be really nice and toasty. And it turns pinky. Isn't that pretty cool? So it's getting really warm. Feel that. Yeah. And then you just want to give it a good little shimmy. And don't use, when you're cutting the tips off of the bottle, please do not use your scissors. Because Jerry, what happens to your scissors?
Oh, you get a big nick there, and you'll hate it.
You'll get dents.
And it will corrode your scissors.
Yes, because I have a razor in my station. And so every time I use it, and it gets rusted. So I'm just going to cut that tip off with just a blade. And we all have extra blades lying around, from feather razors to whatever. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do here is And I'm only gonna do a few because Jerry's gonna do the rest. But I'm just gonna take and I'm just going to just put this right on the rods. Can you see that? And do you see on this one right here? I've got all those holes, so it's going all the way through. And I just put some on the inside, but it's going all the way through. So let's see how I'm just doing that. And I'll go once and then I'll go back the second time and do it one more time. So this is going to process for 25 minutes. And the smell's not too bad. My old boss used to say, this is the smell of money. So, hey, I did pretty good. I didn't drip. It's dripping a little bit. And then after she is all saturated, what we're going to do next is we're going to put a plastic bag on her and then we'll start the timer.
Someone said they use their kids' old Fisker scissors, probably their.
Oh, that's a great
scissors.
idea. Yeah, you could use that too. I like the razor because then you can really get a nice fine. Sometimes it smashes that product. Okay, I'm going to give this to you. And give you this. Or you can come back to that. Okay. Okay. How we doing? I'm just waiting for her to do this. Okay, so now we can do, it's a 10. I'm so excited. This is my easy peasy, like wonderful, wonderful perm wrap that I've been doing for a while, and it really gives people just an idea. Both of them you can take. So this is called, it's a 10. Another name that I thought of giving it was a Chanel because of the way the loops are going, which I thought was like really cool. So if you look at this, again, I have the horseshoe in through here, and I have all of these going back, and these are on these little bendy rods. So this perm takes like literally, it's a 10 because it takes 10 rods in about 10 minutes to do. Okay. And then I have 2 back here in this round. And then I have 3 on one side and 3 on the other side. So this one, this is great for somebody who wants to have that loose beachy wave and just kind of enjoy it. Now you have different options. I have like the bendy. Jerry, can you finish putting the solution on her?
She's in the sink.
She's in the sink.
Oh,
Come on, we got 25 minutes. So we have different options. We have rollers that we can use that same technique. We have rods at different sizes. I mean, I have really small ones, large ones. I want to give her a beachy wave. What do you think? Should we use these? Or do you want to go just a little bit curlier? Any thoughts? So again, when we're doing consultation, what are we, go big, baby. That's my thought. You know, if somebody had really short hair like my last girl, would I use this big of a rod? You know, again, think of how many times that hair is gonna go around the hair. So her hair is longer. So I thought this would be really fun because this is gonna just give her that carefree in the summer where, you know, it doesn't look totally set, like she went in and did all her curls. But if she chooses to do that, it's gonna support it. So
We have pink, go big baby, pink
Yeah.
one, curly and wave sound great.
So we are going to do 10 rods here on her, and I'm going to share with you I'm just gonna wet her down just a little bit more. Now, she does not have, she has a little bit of highlights on the end, but she's pretty curl-free and color-free. So we're just gonna comb this out. And again, we're gonna take that horseshoe out. And it's gonna be a little bit like the other horseshoe was all the way up to here. This one's gonna come down just a little bit more because I really don't want tons and tons of curl. And this is gonna determine the size of my curl. Do you see how long her hair is? It goes all the way to here. So by using this, I'm just going around 1, 2, about 3 times, which is gonna be perfect because when that comes out, it's just gonna have that real nice loose wave to it. Again, so length is important. Remember the depth that I was talking about. Length is important. The texture of that hair. Is it really heavy hair? Is it very porous? Is she gonna take to the curl really good? You know, those are just questions to ask. But she sent me a picture of what she wanted. So when I'm doing this, I'm going, there we go. I am taking it right to that hairline. And I'm just going to take that whole area out. Like I said, it's just almost, I used to do this other wave and I used to call it my solar wave. And what that is it's just very, it was only 6 rods, but I just feel that I needed a little more support in the back. Okay, now think of doing like where you take a section of hair and you wave, like you weave it like a highlight and then put one curl in one and then maybe do another curl in the other. Okay, so if you look at my diagram right here, it's turned, you've got down the middle the zigzag partings and you have only 3 on this side and 3 on this side. And I'm going to be wrapping down. And I will be using end papers. Okay. Sorry about that. It's smelling like a perm in here. Okay, so my first one right through here is going to be my zigzag. And where I determine where they're going to be is like right at the ear. Okay. And I'm going to take this hair. Now I want it to be loose. The last one I took more vertically. This one is going to be a little slightly over directed, going towards the face. Can you guys see this? Does that look good on that screen? Okay. Because on this one, I think when I move, I see it different. I've got my tension. Do you see how I'm pulling this tension? Making sure my ends, I'm just doing a regular. Now, here's the thing. On a traditional rod, you would have to rock it back and forth. This one, I'm just capturing that end. And I am going to just roll that all the way down. And then bend it. Just like that. How easy, right? And you can see those zigzags. So now I know exactly where the back of my head is. And now I'm going to zigzag again. Okay. I'm losing my, oops, wrong way. So here's my zigzag. I'm combing this. Now combing is very important. Now, if say she has like an ombre or she has some highlights in her hair, pre-wrap, they have pre-wraps that have conditioner. I've done my own pre-wraps where I take my moisture mist and then I shake up a little bit of conditioner in there. So, you know, there's lots of different ways. So do you see how large this section is? Say that. So now I'm going to take that tension again. I want to hold it at probably like a 90 straight out. Now, if you have a lot of ends, I'll show you on the next one. You can bookmark that. Take my rod. Make sure I get those ends. And just wrap it. A lot of people just want that little bit of wave to their hair.
How do you determine section size?
On the type of curl she wants, the larger the section, the looser the wave's going to be. Just like if you took it on a curling iron, it's the same thing. The smaller the section, then you're going to have a tighter curl. We're going to have loose curls anyway, but I just really want it just to have that natural kind of beachy wave to it. I'm going to take this. Wrap that. Grab my perm rod. Again, I'm just going to take that hair, wrap it, and then spiral it down. Of course, this one's not working. Yeah. That was 3. So now I'm going to zigzag right like I did the last one. And that's going to zigzag right by the ear, right in through here. And remember, I'm not going vertical, I'm going more downward with it. Take that little bit of moisture mist. Pull that section. Wrap it. Do you see how I took, and here's that end right here. And I just want to lock it in. And then I'm just going to wrap that all the way up. Now you can just do, a lot of times people aren't comfortable or sure if they really want a perm. So what I'll do is I'll blow dry their hair. I'll put a little bit of sculpting foam on the hair dry. I'll set them in these rods and then put them under the dryer for like 15 minutes. And then they can kind of get an idea of what it's going to be like. So this is kind of like testing it, or, you know, trying to do something similar with your curling iron so that they can see the difference.
Someone else asked, how would you wrap layered long hair horizontally?
I'd probably take a little bit of a smaller section, but what you can do, and I've done this before, this is where we call this a bookend. So you're taking one end paper, you're taking another one, you're misting it So this way it's longer. So that's gonna capture all of that hair. Instead of it being from here, it's capturing it from here. And if you need more, I'll show you.
And would you alternate different size rollers?
You can. Mhm. So let's say that, okay, so I'm wrapping this one back. So let's say that she has a lot of layers that are starting to stick out here. So what I'll do is I'll put another end paper and spray that and continue to wrap up that hair. Good question. Thank you for addressing that. So can you see how easy you can do this on somebody's hair? Isn't this great? And now I'm just gonna take, and I'll take those two end papers again. Right here. And I'm going to go in here.
Where can I get those rods? What is the size of the ones you're using now?
I have the thing, I think these are probably in that white bag. It has how many are in there. I'm sorry, I don't know the size of it. So, okay, so now we just have the very top. Yeah, these are 4 jumbo stuff. They are 10 by 13. What's that? And I got these at Sally's. You can get them at Cosmoprof. You can get them at PSC. You can get them at Salon Centric. They have them all over the place. They were actually out of them when I went to one of the supply houses. So now if you look at this very top section, this is what we're addressing right now. And I kind of zigzagged it. I didn't take a lot of zigzagging this way, but I just went in through here. So my very first one is going to be, and would you do this part first? I always like to work from like the bottom. Sometimes if you do the top, then it's hard to get these rods through it. So the very first one is going to be pretty straight on. How's she doing, Jerry?
Okay. I put the timer for 20 minutes today.
Okay.
Sure.
Uh-huh. So can you see that? So I'm just bringing her to me because I want this to get curled going back so that it just has a very nice natural fall. Sorry, you can't see the very ends of her hair right now, but you'll see it in a second. Here, I'm going to take and do that same thing. It's just starting on one end, capturing those ends, and I'm bringing that totally down. And that's the nice thing about this. It's like, there you go. So now my next section, if you can see, is in through here. This one was straight. And now I'm going to start taking them a little bit off centered. You guys see that? So I'm going to take this one where it's going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to be wider on the one side. All together. So, you know, it's really interesting. we have at the salon that I work at, we have a lot of new girls that have just gotten out of school, and so we're doing a little bit of training with them. They don't know anything about perms today. It's like they're like, yeah, we never really did a perm in the school. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So see how this one, and it's coming way down all the way from the other side. So this was the skinnier side, right? So now I'm gonna go a little bit wider. And I did go with a little smaller one just right in through here. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let's take this off. Do you see? And it's wider on this side. Whoops. And narrower on this side. I'm going to take these ends. And I'm standing body positioning in front of my work because I'm wrapping this away from me. So now I've got this end. So what I'm going to do is just put another paper so that nothing escapes. So it just stays right there. And those ends don't get all funky on me. And those are getting wrapped. And then this one right here is my very last one. So 10 rods, yay. And so imagine what this curl is going to do. Now, because of where the natural fall of the hair is, I'm going to let it fall naturally this way. So I'm going to over direct it straight up. But instead of wrapping it towards the head, what I'm going to be doing is wrapping it down towards the natural fall.
Someone commented that back when they were in beauty school, she felt like we did lots of perms, but did not learn a lot about color, like foiling, etc. We pulled through a cap and did lots of touch-ups.
Okay. You know, caps are coming back. I want to do a cap. Yeah. Yeah, they think it's really cool to do the highlighting cap again. Very cool. Okay. So this is a wrap. I'm going to get punchy now. So here's my Chanel wrap on extra large rods, or a ram, or whatever you want to call it. But the only issue that I have when I'm doing anything with these rods is that sometimes the bag that they give to put it on is not large enough. So sometimes I'll have to use a garbage bag. So we'll have to see on that one. So this one, I'm going to be using the more gentle one. And this is the acid wave. Remember where the acid is. It's going to be a little bit more gentle. This is something for highlighted hair. Also, this does have an activation with it. So this is the acid wave. And again, I don't care how many times I've taught this class or how many times I've done a perm. All the instructions are right in here. And this one says right here, I can't see it, 50% highlighted, start timing immediately. It says to check it in 15 minutes and then 5 minutes after that.
Someone else has said, I have a few clients who have a lot of heat from their scalp, and I find they process much quicker with perms and color.
Sometimes if you are using a product that has tons of ammonia, that's going to activate it and make it more. If you're perming them, what I would recommend if they're getting a lot of heat from the scalp, you know, put the product on, but really try not to douse the scalp so much and just more the rod. Sometimes I'll take like a sponge and I'll just sponge it on so that it's more onto that area versus, you know, saturating that scalp area.
Someone else has asked, is the mannequin's hair color treated?
She has a demi-permanent on her hair right now. That's it. She's never been highlighted or colored or anything like that. Okay, so this one, you do have an activation in it that I use the activator. There we go. And I put it into the waving solution, but because it's not exothermic, you can feel it's still cold. And again, I'm just going to go in here without that part. So now when I'm doing this wave here, she's going to be laying in the back by the shampoo bowl. Again, don't forget your cotton and changing your cotton before you put the bag on them, because you don't want to irritate anything around their face or letting that cotton that's got solution drift all over it. And then it's going to irritate their skin. The nice thing also is that these perms don't really irritate the scalp. I haven't had anybody say, oh my gosh, my scalp is so itchy after this. So their head is going to be back. And when you're doing rods like this, I am just really saturating the rod because it's going to absorb. And the nice thing is that, you know, like a regular perm, when you're wrapping that roller around, you really got to saturate that rod. This one, it's only going around once. So it's just going to be all the way, much easier. And I'm just going to work this in. This one actually does not have a really bad smell to it. I want to say this is my favorite for smell. It smells more like apples. So see how I'm just going in here and just going in. So this one's going to be really easy. These rods, it's so much easier. So after this is going to be timed for 15 minutes. And then after that, then we're going to rinse. And you know what? Rinsing is so important. You have to rinse because this is breaking those bonds. So you really have to rinse that hair for like a good 5 minutes on the hottest water possible, because that's going to help get rid of a lot of them. So see how I'm just going in here. And then I'll have Jerry do one more time. But that's it. I mean, this is the easy peasy one. And again, what do I charge for something like that? What a full highlight would be, because it's our knowledge, it's our time. I'm going to give this, and then you can come back for that. So how are we doing on our other girl, Jerry? How much time does she have? What I want to do is I want to show you how to check to see if that perm is done. So with an alkaline, you're going to have a very, as you're unrolling the rod to test it to see, you're going to have a very strong ridge. You're going to see those bumps and see how that hair is turning. Now, with the exothermic, you're going to have a pretty strong wave pattern too. And you're also going to look for separations in the hair. So as you're pulling it apart.
It's been 16 minutes.
Okay, can I have that one? Sure. Back. So you really want to focus on, you know, the separations of the hair with the exothermic and the type of wave pattern. With the, I don't know where, the other box, that's going to be a lot softer, but you'll have the most separations in the hairs, which kind of determines that it's ready. So how am I doing so far? Do you ever put Vaseline on the hairline to place the cotton? No, because the heads are usually back. I just kind of do this area first. And then I put that there, but that's a good barrier. You know, I have done super skinny with it. Did Jerry get the,
He has the other girl, and he said those rods are pretty loose.
okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of look. Can you see how we're having separation? And you're kind of seeing,
Someone asked, do you ever put Vaseline around the hairline prior? to
we
placing
talked
it?
about that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let's see. Wanna focus for a second? So I'm gonna look at this one so that you can see this. And you can see that, see, as I start to turn that, can you see that? Can you see that separation? That's what I'm talking about. See those separations right in through here? That's key. And see how she has that wave that's starting? It's got probably about 5 more minutes before she's done. And then these right in through here, can you see how it's hard to see in here, but you can see how she has trying to find the right light. So it's hard to find it, but you can see that she's having just a little bit of that wave. So these are working great.
It looks good on my screen.
Okay. And so we're just going to put the bag back on her.
Would it be helpful to use a clip even on the Velcro roller so they don't slip down?
You can. That would be fine. She has kind of fine hair, and so I'm using a large roller, so that kind of doesn't help matters too much.
When you
Okay.
do a perm and color, what amount of time do you ask your guests to wait in between the chemical services?
So depending if what kind of color, if I'm doing like a touch-up, I do it on the same day. If I'm doing a demi, which is great because that neutralizes out your pH, I do that on the same day. I won't do highlights. I'll tell them to wait like a week for it. But otherwise, yeah, I do touch-ups and everything right on that same day.
She being nice.
Not yet. Jerry's got her timing.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what I want to talk to you about. So this right here, while we're waiting, these are just wefts of hair that I did. And this was done on the spiral rod. And you can kind of see all the bouncy curls. So this was just, and then just naturally air dried, and it's very springy. Same length. This was done on an orange rod. So this is going to be your curliest right in through here. Can you see all that curl right in here?
I noticed that you used metal clips to hold some of the Velcro.
I
rollers
did,
in. Doesn't
and
the
that-
metal react to the solution?
You know what? It's just at the very bottom, and I've done that before. I do have the other clips though. Good catch. I like that. But yeah, it's going to be fine. It doesn't have a lot of the bio and ammonia and stuff like that in there, so it's okay. But they do have those plastic clips, which are really good. Is that somebody up? Okay, so I do have one more way for you. And this is one that I have been doing so much of lately, are on guys. So you've been seeing my guy here, and I just want to share with you, I wrapped them up. So here's a nice tight little short haircut, right? And he has a little bit of hair on top that's longer. So what I did is I did a brick blade. And I just wanted these rollers. So the reason why he has purple in his hair is because his hair is pretty short. So I just want it to go around once because I just wanted to add texture to it. A lot of the guys are asking for this and they're leaving that hair longer on the top. So if you look in through here, there we go. So I just brick laid it. So there's one here and then I have two. Then I have one. And then I put two and I put those on a diagonal going all back. I have one here. So you can see how you've got these and then you've got the ones on the sides. And they're all going back. I don't know if you can kind of see that. And then this one I did a little bit smaller because I wanted it to stand up for you. So I'm not going to perm him because I permed him instead. So he's a little longer. Now, the same perm, and I used, you could see the length of his hair. I used a teal rod on him. And you can see how big that wave is. So all that's in his hair right now is I permed it, I neutralized it, okay, and I just put like a leave-in conditioner in his hair, and that's it. I have not combed it. This is the first time I'm running my fingers through it. Does this look cool? Look at this wave. A lot of the guys are just like really excited about doing this. So there's a few different things that you can do. Let's
If a
see.
guy has already naturally super curly hair, could I just use a big rod and calm some of the tightness that way?
Exactly. That's what we were talking about. What are some of the benefits of the perm? So changing that texture of hair, taking it into a new story. So yeah, definitely. Like I says, I've got a couple perms booked with people who have frizzy hair that it's a little out of control. They don't like the curls. It's too tight. So we loosen them up that way. But yeah, you can do that on a guy with super curly hair. This mannequin, his hair, like there's a few places, I don't know if you could see, look at, I mean, he is like a brush. I mean, he was very coarse.
Someone said, yeah, I'm going to try it on my husband.
So what I like to do to style his hair, this is something that I like using. It's called invisible wear. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze here. I think the perm solution. Or this is a lavender mint taming cream. So guys like to have it very flexible. Is he single, right? He's the perfect guy. He doesn't talk back. But he doesn't make a lot of money either. So he's just good on your arm. Okay. So here's the cream. Put that in my hands. And I'm just going to, my sister called him Dr. Dreamy from Grey's Anatomy. Like he has that kind of hair. My father's been staying with me and he says, oh, he's got a nice head of hair. I wish I had that kind of hair. So see how this just kind of, this cloud whip just gave it a little bit of texture to it. Now, if you want to take it a little bit into a new direction, I'm going to use the Curl Refresher from Tea Tree, kind of like a foam. I figured I wouldn't like get into wrapping, but look at how, do you see how already it's kind of wetting that hair, but it's really starting to control it and it smells really good. And then I can take my dryer, which I know people are going to be asking about it. What is that? Is he single? What is that called?
I think she's talking.
This is the lavender mint. Sorry. There we go.
I'll type it.
Lavender mint curl Freshing foam. So this is something that I like to put in like the day after. And so I'm just gonna take this hair and kind of blow dry it. So if you want that to go back just a little bit more, you see how that just kind of smooths it out? And this perm, I mean, honestly, it had probably more rods than the two girls that I did, but because I only took that curl with a teal rod, and guys are loving it because now they have that freedom. They can go to the beach, they can go work out, and they don't have to worry about their hair. But look at how that changed it up just by taking that blow dryer. So he's got like that perfect hair. So again, I took him from this to this. Pretty much the same haircut. He's a little longer and he's a little bit shorter. You can see how, but yeah. And that's it. That's exactly the same wrap. I'll take pictures of this so you can see it. So a lot of my guys, like if they're deciding they want to do a perm of something like this, what I'll do is I will curl them with a curling iron and kind of give them an idea of what it's going to look like. So then they feel a little bit more confident before they come back for their next service. And then they're like, yeah, you know what? I really liked it. I'm ready. So, and it's carefree. So, are we a fan? The product applied before that was Paul Mitchell. Okay. Yes, thumbs up. Can I hear any thumbs up? Yay. So, start getting out. Yes. Start talking to your male guest or even the wives or the girlfriends and say, I saw this class and, you know, a lot of the guys are wearing their hair a little bit longer. So this is something that they can do, especially with spring coming up and summer. So thank you. Yay. I think I just had so much fun doing his hair, but I knew I would run out of time so that we can kind of focus on everything else, but I think I could have done it. We're cruising here. Because we're done what, at 2 o'clock? We got two more hours and we're kind of at the halfway point right now, which is perfect. So are those perms easy? Are there any questions from anybody so far? Jerry's rinsing out my one girl and then he's going to bring her back here. Oh, thank you. Every year or 2, 3 haircuts. Looks good. Probably need to do a perm every 2 or 3 haircuts. For a guy, yeah. I would say by the 3rd haircut, he's probably due for 1. Now, if their hair is a little bit longer, you could probably get away with like 3 or 4, which is really nice. So Jerry's going to be bringing back before he neutralizes my girl on the rods. Now I could perm her just the way she is right now. And I do have clips on her just to hold her because she was in transit. So, but again, it'd be very easy just to perm her up. She does have some highlights in her hair. So I just thought that she'd be a pretty good wrap. So, you know, some other things that I want to talk about is like a lot of times people are under the assumption that once I get a perm, I don't have to do anything to my hair. And especially if they have fine texture hair or fine hair, all of a sudden they have these curls and they don't know what to do with them. They don't know how to care for them the right way. They don't know how to take care of them. So I always tell them, now your hair is like somebody who has natural wavy curly texture hair. And with that being, they have to change their regimen of how much product to put in and what type of products to put in. You know, sometimes they need to still add that volumizer to their hair. And perms, you know, they start to break down a little bit, like probably after, I would say about 3 months, 4 months. You know, some of the longer lasting perms, like more of the alkaline perms, those are going to last a little longer. So it's going to be a little bit stronger. Oh, is that the neutralizers? Okay. Yeah, is the one ready?
She's getting neutralized.
Oh, I need to do her first because we're gonna change the rods, remember?
Okay.
Jerry's in the back over there. I should turn the camera around. He's in the back bathroom and he's rinsing everything out. He's such a good assistant. Okay, and then I have towels right over there.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so she's back and guess what? He rinsed her for 5 minutes. So one of my big things that I like to test is this nose. So I'll go in and smell. If I smell a strong smell, I'll be like, nope, she needs a few more minutes because that porosity of that hair has changed. So this is so key and so important. And what I like about these rods are that like I said, I'm just really wanting to get that moisture out of the hair.
We have someone saying, I would love to see Jerry. It's been a long time.
You want to see Jerry?
You might have to make an appearance here.
He's being shy. He's like, no, no. So I'm going in here and I'm just squeezing out some of that moisture because again, this rinsing 5 minutes, very important. Drying that hair a little bit is just as important because if you don't do that and you put that solution, the neutralizer on the hair, what's going to happen is that it's going to get diluted and it's not going to really cross that hair. You know, it's not going to neutralize it the correct way.
Sure. Someone asked.
Okay,
would you
I'm going to
wrap-
be doing this and Jerry's, we're going to have from our sponsor.
A word from our sponsor.
A word from our sponsor, Mr. Jerry.
I got, oh, can't see me, yeah. No way. Hi, guys, I haven't seen you for a while. I'm sure you, well, I missed you anyway.
Okay, that lighting is like perfect.
I missed you anyway. I'm on this walker now. I had a spinal fusion in September. They say it takes about a year to get, but I'm back to work and I'm getting better every day. And I appreciate you being here today. We've had a lot of fun with Darlene and you know, she's the best. I don't know what else to tell you about her. And Kelly here, she's been helping out a lot. If she wasn't here, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Me either.
I'm not so techno savvy. Some of you know. So anyway, hi, and back to the show.
Okay. Darlene, somebody just asked if you would ever put the solution on coarse hair. Let me make sure I'm reading that correctly here. Would you wrap coarse hair with the solution ever?
Oh, like a pre-wrap? So remember when I was saying earlier about, you know, what breaks down those bonds? And so what breaks those bonds down are water and also your shampoos. So sometimes, I mean, I know way back when I would do that, where I would pre-wrap the hair, like put a little solution and then wrap it up, kind of old school. I haven't done that in a while. So, but you could, it did work. Okay, so see how these are getting very floppy. So we have not neutralized yet. Okay, so to me, this is something that I feel is so important, and I will take each rod. And if I'm doing a rod perm like this, I honestly just go in, look at this wave. Can you see that? It's beautiful. And I squeeze out the moisture. So I do this to every rod. If I'm doing a rod perm like this, I go in, and so my assistants and everything, they run from me because this takes a good 10 minutes because they don't want to do this. They're like, are you kidding me? But then I tell them that I give them like an extra couple dollars in cash. Look at this perm. Look at this wave. This is already looking really beautiful. Can you see that? And can you see the separations in there? This is the exothermic. Okay, so now I'm going to take this one out because we're going to transfer it. But already you can see that perm is just gorgeous. So now I'm going to take this one and give it that. And so if I was just doing a rod perm, what I would do next is just rewrap that up, and I would do that to every single rod. And this is what gives you that nice where it's just going to give you more of a bounce to the hair. So we're going to take this one out too. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to marry these two together. Now see how much wave there is in this hair. And now I'm going to comb this. Now it's already, the bonds have been broken. So it's going to be very soft. And look at how nice my ends are. Can you see that? I don't have any of those fishtails. And now I'm going to put both end papers. And I'm going to take my roller. And I'm just going to roll this up. And I'm going to put, you know what, Kelly, I have some in that bag, plastic clips so that they can see.
Thank you. Those were good. Sloppy before.
What?
I said, thank you. Those were getting sloppy before, you know.
Oh, the clips. Mhm. I'm going to take this one out. Jerry did a great job of saturating the hair. No, there's they're in a plastic bag. And I'm just going to wipe that out. So I like to call this a custom because this is taking a little bit more time and just going in there to really neutralize that hair. So back in the old days, school days, this was considered a rod to roller perm, and you would take this hair, and again, remember, I went a smaller rod so that then once that curl goes around, it's going to curl around perfectly. Okay, so now we're going to take this end paper.
I got a minute and a half and it'll be 15 minutes on that other time.
Okay, perfect. Good. And these perms do not really irritate my hands, which is something good. Now I'm going to take my other roller. Make sure that that gets wrapped around. And then here's those plastic clips right here. Can I have another one?
Mhm.
So now I've just transferred her to 2 rods. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. Now I went a little bit smaller on these so that you can see the difference, but this area right here is always gonna be running on the straighter side of things, but look at this curl. And then I did a teal. Oh, perfect.
You want me to read out to you?
Yeah. Mhm.
I can't.
Okay.
I'm making a mess. So, okay, so we have these two that are all ready to be married together. Can you see that? Can you see this wave? So a lot of times people tend to be thinking that, oh my gosh, this is so fragile. I'm not going to be able to, touch the hair or anything like that. Has anybody ever seen Legally Blonde?
Yes.
And what does she say in there? How many hours before you can wash a perm? 48 hours. Okay. So now I'm going to wrap this one and put that around. Clip again. Ah, thank you. And I'm going to put this one in here. And we'll take this one out. And we'll take this one out. Can you see? Look at that bounce. So if I wanted to, I mean, we could just have permed her taking the same technique and the same placement and just did it with perm rod. Now I'm going to comb this. Put that back in the case. Whoops. I'm like stretching all over the place. I need to be, I know, I need to be the bendy girl over here. And now I'm just going to place that in there and grab one of these. And then we're going to go in now and neutralize everything. So, but when I touch, there's no moisture from any of the rods. So this is already starting. So I don't know if any of you remember, but like way back when the first thing Jerry said to me when I came in today is like, hey, do you remember when we used to let the perms air neutralize? So I did that where I went in and got my perm, rinsed it all out, and then for 24 hours, I left my perm rods in my hair. And it was a really nice, beautiful perm. Because what happens now is the neutralizer. So just to chit chat about that. So all these bonds, they're like plates, right? And so what's happening is that they're separated from the perm solution. So now, in order for them to go home and not have their perms fall out, is that the neutralizer is going to harden to whatever shape it's in. So right now, this is just a very loose shape. And so that neutralizer is going to go in there and shape it and form it to whatever size rod that we used.
Someone has asked, when you color and perm the same day, which do you do first?
Do the perm first, then do the color. And I do the color on damp hair. So I'll neutralize her, I'll let her sit for 5 more minutes. I'll rinse 5 minutes after the neutralizer, towel dry her hair, and then I'll go in and do her touch up or put a demi on top of it. Because what that demi is going to do is like there's no ammonia into it. So it's going to kind of close that cuticle back down. That's why we wait 48 hours, because right now we're in this chemical dilemma, so to speak, where we've changed the structure of the hair. We're playing hair god, and it needs oxidation time. It needs to calm itself down. So this way, 48 hours, no extra water or anything like that. but using a demi-permanent that has no ammonia, that's gonna help kind of close it down sooner.
Someone else commented that a paper towel works well to help absorb the extra.
Yes, it does. I use those a lot too. But you know what, when I'm going in between each rod, I really like using the towel. So we're just gonna check my other girl because she's ready to come off also.
That's the red one, right down?
Yeah, the exothermic. Mhm. That would be crazy if we use different solution and neutralizers. And so Jerry wrapped her because the bag was not going to be strong enough. So now we're going to check. So now this one, they say like 15, and then check it to see. She's kind of on the cooler side, but we'll see how she's doing. So I'm just going to bend this down. Again, I'm looking for separation. And see how I have all that separation. So I would say she's gonna need about 3 more minutes because she is a mannequin, but she's looking good. She's looking very good. And we'll check one of these. So you can see that. So see how she's just very loose. It's a very weak, and that's because this is that type of perm. So you're looking more for the separation than the strong wave to it, like we had with the exothermic. So we're just going to put this back on her, and we're going to let her process a little bit longer. When I am doing mannequins with a perm, sometimes what I like to do is just go in and put them under the sun. And that's what I did with my guy. Even though Chicago's been really cold, I went in and I just put them outside. Well, not really outside, in my window. So then that sun just really kind of heated it up a little bit. But yeah, so she's ready. She needs like 5 more minutes and then we can take her out and then. No sun. She's almost done. I'm making such a big mess here. So yeah, paper towels work really well. Towels, just anything, but honestly, rinsing, then smell. And then after smelling, then you're gonna want to really take each of those rods, unroll as you're squeegeing out all that moisture. So then that's going to give it a nice even consistency. So when you do put the neutralizer in, you're not gonna have places that are kind of weak. And, you know, neutralizer is doing, like I said, where it's like, it's hardening everything back up. And sometimes if you have like overprocessed, a lot of times it's not from the solution breaking down from the perm solution, it's more from, or the waving solution, it's more from the neutralizer. Because as it hardens, and if you leave that on too long, you can get more damage with it. So yeah, I would say just be really careful with that. I thought what would be fun is, because she was set, and this is how a lot of times I have people try on a wave. So I'm going to take her down, and then you can kind of see how her set's going. So it's like a set, but it also has that perm to it, but it's going to be a little bit bouncier. You can kind of see that. But see how it has that nice curl to it. So we'll take that down later. We compare them. And how's she doing, Jerry? My neutralizing girl. Okay, how much more time? 5 minutes altogether. So when the neutralizer is sitting on the hair, you don't have to put a bag on it. You just want to just really saturate it, let her sit for 5 minutes. Then you have two options. One option is you can start rinsing with the rods in the hair. And what that's going to do is that's going to kind of control that and make sure that those curls stay really nice and kind of tight in the hair. Or if you want, you can go in and release all the rods, take those out first. Then I sprinkle on just a little bit left of the neutralizer that I have. And if I want it to have more of a natural or a relaxed, what I'll do is I'll take a wide tooth comb or just my fingers and kind of go through that hair and then rinse it on a low pressure. Because remember, the bonds get broken with the pressure, the water. Water has H2O in it. So it's just one molecule away from hydrogen peroxide. And then with the heat, so that does change some of those salt bonds. So you have your salt, your disulfate, and your other bonds. And so those are going to change the effect of it. So any questions while we're waiting for this other wave? You can rinse her on the rod just for a minute. Should we see how to rinse? Would you guys like to see that? Can we bring the laptop over? Let's go behind the scenes. So we're gonna meet Jerry in the bathroom. How funny is this? We're coming here.
This is my workshop.
Yay!
You want me to rinse it off now?
No, it's not 5 minutes.
Couple minutes.
So we figured what we would do is we would just kind of, I feel like on one of those home and garden shows, you know, we're like, come on
Now
into
they're both
this
ready at
room.
the same time. What do you want me to do?
You could do her first. Look at, he's even got her timing. So low pressure, you just want to rinse a little bit first, and then we'll take those out and I'll help them. And oh, there we go. Now we can't do this to our guests at home or in the salon. So then just take these out. This is easy, isn't it, Jerry?
I think this is a video.
Do you process less time when going from curlier hair to looser curls?
Nope, you have to neutralize for 5 minutes. And you know what's nice about these rods or these rollers? They really don't get tangled in the hair.
What brand is your cool hair dryer?
We'll talk about that.
Just keep rinsing it or no?
Just rinse her really good. Oh, there's one right there, right?
Yep.
How's she feel? She got a lot of girl, huh?
Mhm.
Surprising. It didn't look like there was gonna be much of anything. Good.
So then the perm solution is the same time from curlier to looser?
Yes. Mhm. Now,
Right, back to work.
so now Jerry's going to go in and he's going to rinse and then squeeze out, but we'll do that. then I'll
You're
kind of,
gonna do the squeezing?
yeah, I'll do the
All right.
squeezing.
Remain
Okay.
squeezer.
I like squeezing. I am so excited. And you saw how straight her hair was. And those rods were not very large that we did, right? And now I'm just going in here, but look at this. It's amazing. And it's a mannequin. So now, like I tell my guests, this you have to treat as curly hair, right?
Do you know anything about hard water? Does it affect anything with perms?
Yes. So again, remember when we were talking about the steps? So when you're talking density, elasticity, porosity, texture, hair growth, the first step is to detox. So you're gonna really need to detox that hair. Get rid of all that hard water, okay? So you could see the length of her hair and the size roller that I used, like how many times it was gonna go around. But can you see how just natural this looks? So my next thing that I like to do is this is a nourishing leave-in conditioner. And it's by Tea Tree. It's by the Lavender Mint. It's part of the curl line. So now I'm treating her like she has natural curly hair. So this is the milk. So this is just gonna hydrate. So I put in about this much into the hair. And I'm gonna go in here and kind of scrunch it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna dry her very natural. And then we're gonna go in and we can kind of round brush and kind of do a little bit of styling with it. So I'm just gonna take my comb. And comb that out. And then that's going to, I'm going to show you a few different ways how to kind of set that hair up, but I just want to comb it all through. Oh, I'm so excited about this. I want a perm, but I probably, my ends aren't too bad. I'd have to really maybe put some protein in there and condition them up first. So now what I'm going to do, depending what I want, is I want to go in and put some sort of product. So this was just a leave-in conditioner just to keep it hydrated because again, her hydration, she just had a perm. So, but I want to show you this. So if she wanted to, she could just go out just like this, let it air dry, run her fingers through it. A lot of times what I do is I just blow dry them upside down like this, which we will be doing. And you can see all that curl. Who would have ever thought she would have this much curl on those large rollers? I am going to use a diffuser. So what I want to use is I'm going to use some foam, and this is called Lift right here. So I shake this up. Not that much. I'm going to take half in one hand, half in the other. It's very light. I always tell her if she could tip her head this way, and I'll go in here and Just really put that in. Have it go to this side.
Someone else says looks very soft and natural, pretty.
Now, would you have thought we would have gotten this much wave out of those little rods or those big rollers? It's always amazing to me, but it's like the perfect, this is what you see in the magazines right now. This is what you're seeing on people. And look at how she has that nice lift in through here. And you saw how curly these pieces were that we did the smaller perm rods on, but neutralizing her on those rollers just really softened it up and gave it just such a beautiful wave. I feel so inspired right now that I want to go back to the salon tomorrow and start perming everybody again. I'm like so excited. So for a natural styling, okay, so somebody was asking about my blow dryer. It's not a whole bunch of blow dryer. But this is called the Gamma Professional. It is kind of the Italian version of the Dyson. The thing that I like about this, I'm gonna start talking about blow dryer products, but what I like about it is it's lightweight. And when I'm doing my blow dries, I do hold on to the nozzle. The Dyson is a little bit heavier. This is a lot lighter. And the diffuser is great, and it, has ions, so it's less frizzy. Can you believe all this curl, Jerry?
Oh, great.
I think Jerry had a few doubts that
Not
it was gonna come out this wavy. So I'm gonna just have her tip her head because I want to keep her at the natural state right now. So I'm just going to turn her like this and lift her up so you guys can see. Okay. See that? Okay.
How does the perm process react on hair that has had
A Brazilian blowout.
or a customer having had the
You know what? Honestly, I have not run into that issue, but I feel that I don't think that that would work very well. Like if you had, that's another chemical. So I don't think that, it would come out as successful. So I have different settings. This is on the lowest setting. And so I'm just gonna go in here and start to dry the hair. And what I like is that when I start drying that hair, what's happening is that curl is gonna start to get bouncy. So if I want more lift, that's why I like to have her head this way so that, she's gonna just have it more light and airy. And I'm just going in with the end. And the nice thing about this diffuser is that as I'm doing this, you don't see any of the hair like getting totally blown away. So I'm really trying to keep it at a natural state. Chopsticks. To me, chopsticks are so important when I'm doing curly hair perm. If I want to have a little lift, what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke this chopstick all the way through, lift that hair, and then have that chopstick. Because once we start putting our fingers through it, we're going to start breaking the formation of these curls. And that's curly hair or permed hair. So again, tell my clients, treat your hair like you have natural curly hair. It's a different animal. Okay. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I didn't know she was here. We're gonna stop for a second.
Someone else commented you would have to clarify the blowout out of the hair would clarify it at least a couple of times.
Oh, okay, so you'd have to clarify it. Do you want to hold this for me? Sure. Okay. Whoop. Okay, you can hold this. Okay, so Jerry
Oh,
was more rough with this baby
oh,
than he was with the other girl. So we're just gonna have
Should be
to,
smart enough to me.
oh my gosh, he took it out on her. Okay. So we're just gonna rewrap this up.
I'll show you mine.
Okay. So I told Jerry I wanted to show you guys how to kind of just go in here and squeeze before we neutralize.
That's not what I wanted to do.
There we go. So see how I'm really going in here like this. And then the same thing here.
Don't be blaming everything on the shampoo board.
It's the Jerry's fault. She even says so. I'll put her back into place. Can't get her back. What did he do over here? Okay. So you can see how this is kind of weak. You want to pull her tighter. There you go. And I'm just going to rewrap this around. And this one's really giving me a hard time here. But can you see how it's already starting to give you more of that spiral look to it? So once the neutralizer goes in the hair, turn it this way. Once that neutralizer is in the hair, it kind of starts, like I said, to harden it. So we're going to lock this baby in. So Jerry won't have a hard time with that. Oh, what did he do with this one? Okay, turn this way. He was really rough with this one. Jerry.
It's that kind of girl.
Would you ever put her under heat lamps on low to pull out the excess fat?
No, because what's going to happen is it'll dry this part. So then the porosity is not going to be even. And the inside will still be really wet. So that's why I like to go in this way and just really take that water out more evenly. Can you kind of see that wave? Can you see how much wave she has out of that? But not having that neutralizer, it just kind of keeps it on the weaker side of things. Oh my God, you guys should have seen that. Okay. She is ready to be neutralized. So Jerry can go do that. 5 minutes. I smelled her. She smelled great. Here's another towel too. Okay. So how are we doing over here? Where did you get the blow dryer? No, I got this from Salon Systems, I think. I will give you the information for it. It's as expensive as like the Dyson, so the price wasn't any different. But we'll put that on the website for you.
You're answering the question about the,
The blow dryer.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, and honestly, the smell is not premier. Has it on sale for $269. That's exactly what I got it for. Thank you, whoever that is. Does anybody else have one of these? So what I really like about this dryer is it doesn't really frizz the hair off or anything, but it dries the hair so much faster. So that's gonna help me in the long run. Because time is money behind the chair, and with us, you know, with COVID and everything, it's only, you know, we can only do one person at a time. So, you know, if something takes 2 hours and then drying is another, but look at already, can you see how she's getting that fullness on this side versus this side is still wet?
Looks great.
Doesn't that look amazing? I'm so excited. So now, and this is just the leave-in conditioner and the lift. So now I'm going to take her on this side. Raw to roller. Who would have ever thought a roller trend would be like this? So I'm just gonna go into here. Now we have, at our salon, we have a dryer for curly hair. It's like just like a bigger, rounder, and it's almost like an egg shape instead of a regular typical hair dryer. And so because we do so much curly hair, the flow of the heat and the airflow is going to be a lot less messing up the hair. It's not very forceful. So I'm going to take this here. So on that note, then I'll just let them air dry. And then at the very end, I just take my diffuser and start diffusing that hair. But you see how she was dry. And I tell people to dry it to where they like it, because then as it finishes air drying, they're gonna have a little bit more curl with it. Can they go naturally? Definitely. Just put the product in, put it into the place that you need to, and then call it a day. I'm gonna have you hold this. Okay, so now we're just gonna take this. I see she has a few highlights in her hair, so she must have had a few highlights. I'm so excited, and I just want to say thank you guys for letting me share my perm knowledge. I have been wanting to do a class like this for a while because I feel like this is something that has been forgotten. And I feel that, you know, this is something that needs to be brought back, especially with everybody, you know, having texture. And, you know, a lot of these waves, the technology of them today are for color treated hair. I mean, she does have, I don't know if you can kind of see, she has some highlights. So
Someone has asked, what is that red stick called? It is brilliant.
it's a chopstick, and I got it in Chinatown. So you can get it at any Chinatown, any Chinese grocery store, Asian grocery store. And yeah, you just look at this.
It's so pretty. So full.
So what do you think, guys? I can turn her down. Uh-oh, timer's gone off. Love it, love it. And you know what I love even more? It feels amazing. Now, would you be able to go out just like this? So remember, 48 hours, you tell your guests, do not run it under any water, because again, the pressure of the water, the heat of that, it'll relax that perm. So now what I like to do is, like, say that this is the next day, okay? So I really try to educate my guests on how they're gonna take care of it. So this is the, like what I used in the guide, the lavender mint curl refresher. So the next day, what I'll tell them to do is, like, if they're just a little bit on the end, is just to work that in, work this through the hair. And what that's going to do is that's going to rehydrate it. So here she is this way. Now, if I wanted to, I can go in and she's still a little damp. So I'm going to let her dry, but then we'll go in and we'll kind of brown brush it just a little bit at the very end. Or if I wanted even a little bit more curl, what I can go now is just go in with my iron and do a rod, a little bit of rod work with it. But I honestly have to say, I'm like loving the way it's looking right now, and I can't stop playing with it. And she has a nice, just olive brown. So she's neutralized and rinsed. Oh, he didn't take the rods out. I think Jerry was afraid to take these rods out. Oh my gosh, this poor girl.
I think it was the wrapper.
Hmm?
I think it was the wrapper.
The wrapper. So she's all rinsed though?
Oh, yeah. 5 minutes.
Uh-huh. I think we're gonna rinse her one more time. But this looks great. Looks a little rough right now. I thought he'd have a harder time with the rollers. He should have taken that out. Do you want to ask him to rinse one more time? Okay, so we took these out. She's looking really good. Look at these curls. Just like one good rinse.
Okay.
I still smell some perm on her. Just a little rinse. So now what we're going to do is bring her back. We'll come through her and tea tree lavender mint curl refresher is going on. I love that. One more thing, excuse me for a second. So the tea tree is going to give it a little bit more moisture. And this is from Invisible Wear. And this is the Boomerang Restyling Mist. If you can see this, this is for all my curly girls. It's, if you can see, you can barely see the mist of it. It's so light, and you can spray this on the next day and just re-scrunch it in through here. And it's the same thing for, and then you would take the blow dryer. This is not good. And then just go back in And blow right out. So see how I'm getting a little bit more body out of it. Oh, much better. Okay. She looks amazing. Look at this. Woo, so excited. So now I'm just gonna go in here. Now, remember, this was the acid perm, so it's going to look weaker, like with the exothermic. That one you see the formation, but with this, it's gonna be a little bit more gentle, so you're not gonna see quite as much of the curl. It's gonna be a weaker curl looking until it starts to dry, and then you'll have all that support. Just wanna get some of that out. But for these large rods, she got some really nice curl too. So, and only 10 rods. I mean, I know we've always been like, oh, the more rods that you use, you know, the better off it's going to be. It's gonna, you know, be too curly. How many people remember getting those old perms with the white rods, gray rods, pink rods?
Yeah.
Even I have a few people who, a couple times a year, my little old ladies, not old ladies, but you know, my grandmas. And I only do like 10 rods on them. That's it. I don't go in and I don't put in like 50,000 rods. And they love it. And it lasts just as long. And the nice thing about less rods, it grows out so much more beautiful. When you're doing like 100 rods in the hair, then it grows out almost like a touch-up would. You know, it's like you see that straight line versus the curl, you know. So now I'm just putting in a spray leave-in conditioner because I always like to kind of put that moisture back into the hair. So it stays really nice and silky. And again, this is part of our curl line, which is the lavender mint. Right in through here. And that's us leave-in spray conditioner. So now I'm going to take, and I'm going to comb this out. And I'm going to do one side where we're just going to scrunch it and you can see the curl. And then the other side, I'm going to kind of set up just a little bit differently. So we're just going to comb this out. So again, she was processing for about 20 minutes, which wasn't too bad. Our first wave, that was 15 minutes, right? For the exothermic. So I just want to comb her out. So with this type of perm where we use those, the rods, this is going to be really nice for just that long hair girls. It's just so much nicer because the saturation of the perm is more even. You have less mistakes with it. Okay, so we're just combing this out. Do you remember one of these? Bringing back. Just to kind of comb through it because their hair is pretty long. I love when you comb out the perm and then all of a sudden you start seeing that wave coming through. I don't want to rip it out. So I'm just kind of going in here gently because it is still air oxidizing. Ooh, I hear that. So I'm going to put a little more leave-in conditioner right here. Now, one thing that I'm not addressing are haircuts right now, but usually after somebody gets a wave, what I like to do is clean up their ends or give them their haircut. Or like you were asking about color. I would do that also. So, can you see this curl that's starting to come out? But can you see how it's just a little bit looser? Plus the hair is longer. And I just want to really get through these tangles that we have. Okay, yay. So I want to use something a little bit stronger, so I'm going to use the defining gel. A gel is really good. We used the foam on the other girl, which gave it a little bit lighter. So this is a very liquidy gel. And again, it's from the Lavender Mint Defining Gel. So I'm going to work this in my hands. And I'm going to kind of do it the same way. I really want to focus on those ends. Push it in through this top right here. One of my other favorites is round trip. I love round trip. It's a very defining kind of, it's a gel. That's another thing that I like putting in there because it's very naked. You don't feel like you have that scrunchy gel or any type of foam or the Avapui Wild Ginger. I mean, there's so many different products, but I always top it first with some sort of leave-in conditioner. So now that she has that in her hair, look at how that wave is just starting to come out now. I mean, when we first did it, it was like, it's okay. So what I want to do, and I'm going to show you on one side, and then we're going to leave one side natural. So what I like to do is coil wrap, and it just gives the hair a little bit of style. And I'm trying to see where her part is. And I think her part is like about right there. Yeah, she's going to have a middle part. So one side we're going to leave natural, and then the other side we're going to go in and do something a little more fun. So the first thing that I'm going to do I'll bring this up closer, is I'm going to take this bottom section right here, clip this out of the way. Can everybody see that part? And I'm going to put a little bit of this defining gel in my hand, like that. I'm going to take my comb, and I'm taking a very small, fine comb, fine teeth. And I'm going to start on this side, and I'm going to take a fairly large section. And I just want to set her hair. And then I'm going to curl this around, comb, wrap around, and these are more like for coils. So this is going to take a little longer. So I just want it to mimic the rod that we used. So I comb this out. I'm holding it at a 90. I'm helicoptering it. I'm combing, flipping that hair, combing, flipping that hair, combing, flipping that hair. And I'm going to do this all the way across. So combing that hair straight out. And I'm only gonna do half the head. Flipping that hair, comb. Turn it. And so then you're just getting, and this is great on somebody with naturally curly hair. But you need a fine tooth comb with this. So I'm taking this hair, helicoptering it around once, pulling, and then just start flipping that hair. And if you lose it, like how I just lost it right here, just take my comb in there and then just start twirling it. So see, by bringing that straight out, I'm not getting too flat. It's going to have a little bit more movement around it. And so now I'm going to take my next section. And again, it's going to be on a diagonal. So I want everybody to try this at home or at the salon the next time you're in, or your next curly guest, because it's just something a little different. So now, again, even though I put a bunch of gel in, I'm putting a little bit more in. See, working that in. And I just really want that on the ends. Now this defining gel dries really nice and it doesn't take a long time for the hair to dry. So now I'm going to take another section and I'm going to hold this out at a 90. I'm do my helicopter comb. And you just keep flipping it around. By having this tooth comb, what it's doing is it's smoothing out all that curl. Okay, so now we're going to comb this and see how I'm squeegeeing that hair. I'm squeegeeing the product through the hair. And so I'm just going to keep doing this and this way. So tell me, is anybody wanting to get a perm now? Or give a perm? Who wants a perm? We're perming at Jerry's house. We're gonna perm each other's hair. So next time you see all of us, we're all gonna be curly.
Somebody said, yes, pick me.
Yes, this is something that I feel you cannot do on yourself. You can color your hair. You can do a single process touch up. You could even do some highlights or some ombre. You can kind of cut your hair, but you can't perm your own hair. There is no way. Has anybody ever permed their own hair? Okay, so again, I'm bringing this straight out, really squeegeeing that product through, taking and helicoptering, and I'm taking fairly large sections. I mean, you can take small sections if you want, but it's just going to give it just a really nice kind of beachy wave to it. So now we're on the top. And I just want to show you how I address that. So at the top, I hold that hair straight out.
Someone said I did try doing this on my own hair and the comb kept getting stuck.
Yes, so you need to hold those ends. See how I'm holding the ends? And when I helicopter, I make sure that that hair is underneath. And then when you're holding, you're gonna go underneath there, see? And then you're gonna comb and go underneath, comb, underneath. And you can even hold the rest of it and it just kind of spins. But see how I'm getting that lift right in through there.
Love this idea.
So it's just taking that perm now that she has, and she can do her own hair the way she normally does, but this is just giving them, you know, a different option and maybe something that she'll be like, you know what? I can't really do this to my own hair. Can I come in and can you do this for me? Okay. So we're at the halfway point. So see how I'm taking this hair, bringing that tail up, but also making sure that it covers over the, and then I'm just flipping and twisting it. So she has like all these cute little cornrows. Is that neat? I hear a sound. Okay,
Oh.
so here is. So now I'm going to take this, clear that hair, comb, clear, and see how I'm really keeping that up. And then I can just hold on to it and twist and twist and twist. But see how it's gonna have that natural lift to the hair. So I was just getting a phone call right now, and it was the sales consultant from the Gamma Driver. How funny is that? Okay, so can you see the difference on how this is like very natural and how this side has just more of that control with it? So what I want to do is I just want to let this dry natural, and we're going to kind of diffuse her so that you can see. But look at these big rods, you know, and for a beachy wave, there's still work that you need to do to it, you know, as you're drying it. So we're just gonna tilt her head upside down like this. She has the defining gel in there. And again, we're just gonna go in, you know, and a lot of times mannequins, you don't know how they're gonna taste because they have no heat. Gary did a great job. He could be my assistant anytime. So I'm just going in here and just really trying to keep it natural. So with these rods being this large, this is about a really nice size because if they want to go in then and just take that round brush and kind of blow it out, they have all that support with it. And I'm just really going in here. And for this being the acid wave, which was a little bit more gentle, which I'm glad we did because she seems like she has a finer texture hair and a little bit more compromised. So you never know with these mannequins what hair, you know, they had on their head and what kind of process they had. So I'm really happy with the way they turned out because they look really good. So again, I'm just gonna lift. I just want to go natural for you right now. Love this idea. We'll lift that up. And I'm just really forcing that air in the hair so that I get some lift. But she's looking like she has natural wave in her hair. And then on this side, we'll turn her like this. And can you see how she's just really got these coils? So I'm going to, because I have more control, I'm going to turn up the heat and I'm going to turn up the power.
And I just take these and I really try to dry, because this is like where it's the heaviest, is right into this area for the drying time. And so I just lift those up. And I can twist them. But by pushing that up, I'm drying that root. And because that's what I really want to dry. That's where I'm going to get that lid. The rest of the hair is going to dry really quick. So I didn't know if Jerry had a hair dryer on him. Do you have a hair dryer still? No, I'm talking about one of those old dryers. I like this one better than the Dyson. Oh, yeah. This is like the Dyson. No. So one girl I work with, she has a Dyson, so we compared. Time-wise and drying, because I'm all about stats and, and all that. It was the same. It wasn't any faster, any slower. 269. Dyson 400. So at Christmas time, I do a lot of curly hair people, and I do a lot of thick hair. I sold like 12 of them at Christmas. And, they just loved it because honestly, I did my hair this morning with the down on. I curled it, and tomorrow my hair will still look like this. So this dryer really keeps the frizziness out of the hair. It keeps the hair great. I'm not trying to be a spokesperson for it and do myself, but I'm loving it. I'm sorry? Gamma? Okay. See how she's starting to have some body into her hair? Now we're going to turn her upside down. I'll hold it. What would be the result of coiling straight hair? It wouldn't coil. Because you might get a little texture out of it, but this is for somebody with curly hair or somebody with a bun. So I love doing this because you can see how shiny that is. And that's because we squeegeed all that product through your hair. And you're going to have less frizziness. Where this side, we didn't squeegee it through. And you can see she has a little bit more texture to her hair. We might, yeah, everybody loves this. Everybody. So in the salon, when I'm doing this kind of technique, when I'm drying the hair like this, I have them put the neck of, like the back of their neck, and I have them totally flat and slide in my hair all the way back. So then that hair is just cascading over. And then I'll have them sit this way or that way. And so I get the same effect. And then I do have them put their head upside down. That's what she was telling me. I knew which way. But she was stopping less. And now I'm starting to get